December 15th, 2026. 7:42 a.m. The world woke up to an impossibility. Glaciers that had been retreating for decades were growing. Ice sheets expanding by meters per hour. Scientists called it the reversal event, and it terrified them more than the warming ever did. This isn't a fantasy. This is a thought experiment built on real science, real consequences. Because reversing climate change overnight wouldn't save us. It would unleash something far more catastrophic. To understand why reversal means annihilation, we need to understand what we did to this planet. Since 1850, humanity pumped 2.4 trillion tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. We raised global temperatures by 1.3 degrees Celsius. Polar ice caps lost 28 trillion tons of ice. Sea levels rose 21 centimeters. 9 of the 10 hottest years on record happened in the last decade. But here's what most people don't know. The Earth's climate isn't a light switch. It's a 4.5 billion-year-old engine with momentum that makes freight trains look delicate. Ocean currents move heat. Jet streams govern rain. Ice reflects sunlight. Forests breathe carbon. Every piece connected, balanced over millennia. What happens when you slam that engine into reverse? Hour 1. Atmospheric CO2 levels plummet from 425 parts per million to pre-industrial levels of 280. The greenhouse effect collapses instantly. Within 60 minutes, global temperatures drop 3 degrees Celsius. That's 5 times faster than any natural climate shift in Earth's history. The last time temperatures changed this fast, it was the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. The atmosphere goes into shock. Temperature differentials between equator and poles create hyperkinetic storms with 500-mile-per-hour winds. Category 6 doesn't exist on our scale. These storms do. Mumbai, Houston, Shanghai, coastal cities face 200-foot storm surges as atmospheric pressure collapses, not from sea level rise, from the sky itself falling. The oceans absorbed 90% of our excess heat over the last century. 38 zettajoules of energy. That's 25,000 times the energy of every nuclear weapon ever built. Now that heat has nowhere to go. The Gulf Stream, Europe's heat pump, reverses direction in 6 hours. London's temperature drops to Siberian levels. Paradoxically, the Mediterranean boils. Ocean temperatures spike to 45 degrees Celsius. Marine ecosystems collapse within days. The Pacific blob, a mass of superheated water, begins moving east. When it hits the California coast on day 3, the evaporation rate creates atmospheric rivers, unlike anything in recorded history. 7 meters of rain in 48 hours. But it's what's happening at the poles that seals humanity's fate. Arctic ice expands by 40,000 square kilometers per day. Antarctic ice shelves that took decades to melt reform in 5 days. Scientists monitoring the data see something that makes their blood run cold. The albedo effect has triggered. Fresh white ice reflects 90% of sunlight back to space. Dark ocean water absorbs it. The more ice grows, the colder it gets. The colder it gets, the more ice grows. This is exactly how ice ages begin. But natural ice ages take thousands of years to develop. This one has 7 days. Dr. Sarah Chen, paleoclimatologist at Stanford. Pulls data from the Younger Dryas Eventa, rapid cooling, 12,800 years ago. Temperatures dropped 15 degrees in a decade. Megafauna went extinct. Early human civilizations collapsed. Her models show the reversal event moving 500 times faster. By day 10, glaciers would reach New York City. By day 30, ice sheets would cover everything above 40 degrees latitude. 2 billion people live in zones that would be under ice within a month. Agriculture collapses first. Growing seasons in the northern hemisphere vanish overnight. Wheat fields in Kansas freeze solid. Rice paddies in China become tundra. The global food supply lasts 73 days. After that, 3 billion people face starvation. Mass migration begins, the largest movement of human beings in history. But there's nowhere to go. Equatorial regions, the only zones still habitable, sea populations triple in weeks. Indonesia, Kenya, Brazil become the last bastions of civilization. But they're facing their own catastrophe. Rainforests evolved over millions of years in stable conditions. Sudden temperature drops shock their ecosystems. The Amazon rainforest, producing 20% of Earth's oxygen, begins dying. Massive tree die-offs release 300 billion tons of carbon back into the atmosphere. The carbon cycle breaks. The ocean's ability to absorb CO2 crashes as marine phytoplankton die. Atmospheric chemistry becomes chaotic. Oxygen levels begin fluctuating. In some regions, breathing becomes difficult. Species extinction accelerates to levels not seen since the Permian extinction, the Great Dying 252 million years ago. 96% of marine species vanished. 70% of land vertebrates died. Insects, the foundation of terrestrial ecosystems, can't adapt fast enough. Pollinator die-off means crop failure, even in surviving zones. The food chain collapses from bottom to top. Within 6 months, biomass on Earth would decrease by 40%. The planet wouldn't just look different, it would be different. A world where life itself struggles to exist. The final paradox: in trying to fix our warming planet instantly, we'd trigger a deep freeze that makes the original problem look like a minor inconvenience. So why tell this nightmare story? Because it reveals the one truth we keep avoiding. Climate systems change gradually because they must. Earth's biosphere, every living thing, evolved within narrow temperature bands over billions of years. Rapid change in either direction equals extinction. The only solution is the one we don't want to hear: gradual, sustained action over decades. Reducing emissions 7.6% per year. Transitioning to renewable energy. Protecting forests. Rebuilding soil. Restoring oceans. It's not dramatic. There's no overnight miracle, but it's the only path that doesn't end in catastrophe. Because nature doesn't negotiate. Physics doesn't compromise. The planet operates on deep time. We have the technology. We have the knowledge. What we're testing now is whether we have the wisdom. Imagine waking up tomorrow and the crisis is solved. Ice caps restored. Temperatures stable. Oceans healed. It's the fantasy we all share. But this thought experiment shows us why fantasies are dangerous. Quick fixes don't exist for planetary systems. The damage took 200 years to create. The healing will take just as long. Every degree we prevent from rising, every ton of carbon we don't emit, every forest we protect, it matters. Not because it's dramatic, because it's survivable. The reversal event will never happen. But every day we delay real action. We move closer to consequences, just as catastrophic, just as irreversible. This planet spent 4.5 billion years becoming the only known harbor for life in the universe. It survived asteroid impacts, volcanic cataclysms, ice ages, and mass extinctions. It will survive us, too. The question isn't whether Earth endures. It's whether we'll be part of its future. Climate change won't reverse overnight, but our approach to it can. Not through magic or technology we don't have. Through the hardest thing humanity has ever attempted: thinking beyond ourselves, beyond this quarter's profits, beyond the next election, beyond our own lifetimes. We don't need a miracle, we need time, and time is the one thing we're running out of. What would you sacrifice to save a world you'll never see?